What's going on, guys? It's your boy Kevin here, and I'm here with Sheldon, Josh, and DeLucas. DeLucas did such a good job last week. We brought him back for hopefully the remainder of the season.
Forever and ever. We can't do
Guys,
this without DeLucas.
thank you guys for holding it down when I wasn't here. We're now here, though, to talk about last night's episode of BB Can 10. The begin of the reign of Kyle, which is interesting reign. Long may he rule, I guess.
Not that long. Not that long.
Man, guys, this episode was just
wow.
Listen, I've been a Big Brother fan for a long time, and it's very rare that you see epically bad gameplay like this. And this was DeLucas. You've been a BB Can BB US fan. Have you seen anything that's bad?
I'm sure I have, but because this is so fresh, I don't think I can come up with anything off the top of my head. First off, thanks for having me back. If I was a one and done, I had to come back at least for this episode to see Josh eat crow, and to also be validated in my predictions and feelings from the last episode. No, I don't think in recent times we've seen anything bad. I'm sure if we dig, we can. But Kyle, man,
Sheldon, off the top of your head, do you remember anything this terrible?
It's not that it's terrible because it is. It's that Kyle thinks he knows what he's doing and is being super smart and strategic. It's that over cockiness that will make Kyle Moore the second have the same fate as Kyle Moore the first and be the fourth evicted from Big Brother Canada.
Josh, is Kyle Moore from BB Can 9 now the real Kyle Moore?
I think I see the similarities because, like, two things. One, I see the comparison. Am I sounding a bit echoey? Can y'all hear me okay?
You're good.
You're good.
Okay, sorry. I would say I see the similarities for both of them. I think the Kyle Moore for this season is playing slightly better, but at the same time, I think he might get the same placement as the last Kyle Moore from last season. After watching the episode today, and other than like going through the rest of the stuff, I think it could be possible he could be the fourth boot at this rate, but we will have to see.
Part of me wonders if he doesn't give a crap, and his goal is to come here, do some crazy shit, get some new followers to his podcast, and call it a day. The thing is, I don't buy that either, though, because I think he still thinks he's doing good things. That might end up happening, though. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think like Kyle is like doing both good and bad things. Because one, like I'll get into the live feed a little bit later, but the thing is with Kyle is that like he wants to feel like he is running the show, and I think he does. I think his ego might get a little bit more inflated the more that like he tries to like spew in a little too much info to the right people and the wrong people at the same time, if that makes sense.
This man is so cocky. He went with his key to open his HOH room and didn't say, "Hey guys, come see my." He stood on the center table.
Oh, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, Sheldon. We're gonna get there. So we will get there. So let's jump into the episode because this was juicy. I think it's interesting that Josh thinks it was good and bad because I just saw a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad. So we start off the episode with Jay leaving fabulously, like they did, and immediately we launch into the fact that Betty knows that there was 2 votes against them, with all the rest of the votes being elsewhere. But we hear it from Jess's perspective, because Jess is very concerned that people are going to think that they are the reason that there was at least 1 vote that was not up to snuff, because Jess felt like that if people were throwing votes, they wanted to be able to give one to Jay. but they did not, and they know they're going to be framed for it. I personally am not a big worrier about sympathy votes. Sympathy votes don't matter to me at all. DeLucas, how do you feel about sympathy votes?
They suck. Like, we're here to play a game. I'm not having sympathy for someone I'm voting out, whether you're my ally or not. So I don't care to throw sympathy votes or want sympathy votes. However, I do think Jess did the right thing by saying it. I mean, we see Kyle say it first, but I think they did the right thing because it takes away from everyone else spreading the word. And I don't know. Jess is really growing on me. This episode specifically, I think they may have positioned themselves into a better spot, but kind of like claiming that you didn't do it is now going to take away the power from everyone else spreading the word that they did do it. So I think that was cool that that they were able to do that. And then with Kyle, I didn't see the point or necessity.
Yeah, so we get back, and immediately Kyle is like, hey, there's 2 votes. One of them was mine, and the other one still maybe was Jess, but I just didn't want Jay to go out, even though we had the big blow up, and we were fighting all week. I didn't want Jay to go out with no votes, which is a load of crap, as we all know. But,
I think like with Kyle with that play, I was analyzing that a little bit. It seemed a little too convenient, in my opinion. I was thinking to myself, like, why would you say that? Like I get like you wanted to like cause a little bit of speculation, but I think it would have been better if you didn't say anything, because then at that point it's like, well, if you claim that was you, then that means, oh, I voted for Betty. Well, guess what? If Betty wins HOH, Kyle's is going up.
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously the outcome, it didn't happen in Betty's favor, but it's more like you really got to think about, like, do you want to cause mystery and suspense, or you want to just be upfront and be like, hey, you know what? I did this. If you're playing that kind of game, then good. It shows your cards, but that would also prove that you're like a bit sketch at the same time. Maybe tell people one thing and do another.
Right. What's the point of doing it in the first place if you're just going to cop to it?
You know what it is?
It makes sense.
I'll tell you what it was. I think that Kyle thought that he was going to be the only sketch vote, and then he could put it on Jess. And then when there was 2, he was like, all right, I could cop to 1. I'm assuming somebody else won't cop to it because I'm just going to do it first. That's how I read it.
But Kevin, what's the difference? Let there be 2 votes and let people think there's a lot of shady shit going on. I'd rather more shady than less shady.
If I'm on the block and someone gave the other person a sympathy vote and I stayed in the house, I don't give 2 shits. That's perfectly fine. I've been watching this game for so long that I know that sometimes people throw hinky votes. It is what it is. I'm not going to think it means anything more or less than what was happening, right? No. So I don't know why people still throw hinky votes, because it doesn't really, to me, cause enough mystery to matter.
I think I could give a little bit of a clarity on that. I think people throwing hinky votes just to cause a little bit of chaos and a little bit of stir, because I did see in past seasons of BB Cam where like they express in their confessionals, hey, I'm gonna throw myself a vote just to make sure that, you know, it causes a little bit of chaos and a little bit of speculation. It works, but then in the long run, people can figure out if you're actually with that person or not. So
Josh, if a tree falls in the forest and I live in my fucking house, why do I care? That's kind of how I see it. Like, you throw the hinky vote, I don't care why it was done. I see that you're in your confessional. You're like, I'm gonna cause mystery. It doesn't. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned.
But you see,
no, that's fair.
I don't mind 2 hinky votes. I really don't, because what you're actually saying is, okay, well, Jess was certainly one of those votes, and then you're saying Jess actually is with one other person. So we need to start watching Jess a little closer, and we need to make sure that Jess isn't bringing in Kevin, isn't bringing in whomever. That's why when Kyle saw that, I would, like, if I was Kyle, I would have said, oh, 2 votes. Someone else did the same thing I did. Cool. Let's put Jess, and let's make this beautiful story that Jess has a ride or die.
An ally.
Let's figure out who this ride or die is.
Yeah.
I also want to intervene that, like Kyle and Herman both throwing in hinky votes, it seemed like they both weren't on the same page. Like, well, like they kind of had the right idea, but they kind of didn't really talk about it. I bet if they would have had one conversation, I bet Kyle wouldn't have done what he did. So I think it was a little bit of a gameplay solely on their parts. But I bet if they really wanted to make Jess look sketch, they should have had a conversation prior so it didn't look as sus on Kyle's part.
Exactly. I feel like there's so much going on in week 3 that we're missing pieces to the story. So did Kyle express to his alliance that he was going to do this, or did he blindside them? Because I understand hinky votes may not matter, but if you're supposed to be someone I'm working with and that I'm going to trust long term, and you do something like that for shits and giggles and then admit it, now I'm looking at you like, do I trust you? Do I trust that in week 7 you're going to do what you said you were going to do when we agreed that this is how we're going to vote? So doing the hinky vote is fine. Let the paranoia, sink in, but then don't admit it and now possibly ostracize people who you are trusting you at this point. Because in the game, we're looking for people who we can work long-term with. And any little thing that you do against that is going to just put a red flag in people's minds. And now this is the beginning of lots of red flags from Kyle.
Especially doing it before we know who the HOH is.
Right.
So really, arguably, Kyle needed this HOH potentially after doing that. And Kyle Moore II may have been third evicted if not for that win.
Yeah. I'm going to need Canada to find another Kyle Moore because we're going to need representation and justice for Kyle Moores across Canada. So third time to farm, Canada, do your due diligence and get another Kyle Moore.
So we have Jess spiraling as they can constantly go around the house letting everyone know that, hey, I wasn't one of the votes, just so that you know. We had a great scene where JC is like, well, definitely you, right? And they're like, no. Oh, I thought for sure it was you. My bad. And then moved on about her life from there.
Well,
it was great.
Right. I think that. Oh, I'm hearing an echo. Hold on. Oh, who's calling? Oh, there. Okay. Well, that's a little technical. Anyways, what was I gonna say? I think during that episode. Oh, don't worry. It's all good. I think at that point during that episode, even though it kind of feels like, oh, Jess was talking to Betty and was just like, hey, that vote wasn't me. And then it was just like, oh, okay. But then they kind of moved on. But then at the end of it, you see everybody else come up to the bathroom and they were like, you know what? I think it's kind of Jess anyway. So even though Jess claims they didn't do it, they all had the consensus. Do you believe that just because someone said they didn't do it, I think it's more of the perception of you were able to convince them that it is a particular person? Do you think it's all about perception, or do you believe that's just what they think it's obvious?
I think it seemed obvious that would happen. Not that they were going based on what happened in the previous vote, but I thought it would have been obvious because they're both non-binary and Jay had done this whole ritual thing and we had seen all that. And I thought that Jess would have just connected with them, so I would have thought that Jess was the obvious vote.
Right. I would have thought so too, but I think they did a good job of convincing people that it wasn't them. I really do. I think Betty bought it. I think JC bought it. I think Jess is a dark horse, and I think what they are doing is what Kevin wants to be doing, right? So Kevin's doing the mopey I'm by myself, whereas Jess is doing the I'm by myself, utilize me. And I think if they can make it a couple of more weeks, they're going to become a pivotal vote over just the person that's on an island by themselves. I really do. Because there's strategy there, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jess is growing on me as well. But there are moments where they seem so certain of themselves and so almost aggressive that I find it a little bit of a turnoff. And the question always to me becomes, if I'm in the house, is this somebody I really want to work with and play with? Do I want to live with this person 24 hours a day for how many weeks?
So that's the thing, though. At this point, you have been living with them. So initially, it was extremely off-putting. But at this point, we are now 20 days in 17 days in or so. So you know that this is who this person is, and they're not being disingenuous. And that's I think that's the biggest point, is that Jess is never being not themselves. And so at this point, you're just like, all right, this is how this person is, which is why those kind of people, you got to get out early. Because if you don't like them because of their personality, you got to get them out early, because otherwise, like you guys are saying, they grow on you. And I've never seen someone play from the bottom so much as Jess has. And they are doing a very, very good job from scratching and clawing and staying, which is what we're going to jump into right now, because as we know, the HOH ends up being Kyle with the score of 24. So with Kyle getting the score of 24, we're like, okay, this is probably going to be a very easy week. We got the Savage 7. They're safe. We got the Retreat Alliance. They're safe. This is going to be a very simple, easy, put up Betty, put up Jess or Betty go home. Everything's fine. But Jess gets in there and starts talking to Kyle, and for whatever reason, Kyle's like, Jess, you're making sense to me. Which doesn't make sense to me at all. Can someone explain this to me?
So this reminds me of last season of Big Brother, Frenchie. This person comes into the room. Oh, Frenchie falls in love. This person comes into the room. Frenchie falls in love again. Oh, I can't vote out this person. I can't vote out that person. I can't vote out this person. It's the same thing that seems to be that Kyle is potentially gullible, potentially influenced. And again, it started to take him away from his core group or groups that he's working with, and started the downfall of Kyle's game.
I think that. Oh well, there's the dog. Anyways, I think that the way that Kyle's HOH, like Kyle winning HOH, is not really it's kind of like a great thing for his game, because it's like, okay, he has 2 easy targets, maybe Betty and Jess, maybe you want to throw in Steph in there if you want, but the way Kyle is handling his HOH, which we're going to get to in a little bit, is a little bit messy, but also a little bit it's messy, good and bad at the same time. I don't see this fully as a bad move of what he was about to do with his nominations, but I also see why this could easily be blown out of proportion, if that makes sense.
Okay, listen, Josh, I'm gonna stop with you trying to explain how Kyle's doing something good here. We're done with this. Okay, this is the worst.
I'm not excusing him.
We're gonna launch into this. Okay, so
go for it.
Jess comes up there and talks to Kyle. Somehow convinces Kyle that they aren't a threat to him, even though they've been very obviously jockeying for position for a long time. So Jess makes himself appear as an asset, which is weird, but okay. Next, we know that Kyle is teamed up with the boys. They got the boys. It's all the boys. Everything's about the boys, right? Gino, Kyle, Herman, sorta. Moose, sorta. Marty, sorta. You know what I'm saying? But mainly Gino, mainly Kyle. That's what the boys are, right? We see that. Then he calls up Jace to let her know that he's going to be putting up Steph, who's in the retreat. What?
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm not going to defend Kyle for this one. I think him putting up Steph this early was kind of a bad move on his part, but
not kind of.
Okay. I'm done defending him. It was bad.
Thank you.
So isn't the problem here when a person has way too many alliances and with too many people, you fuck up your game?
No.
Isn't that the problem? But he had a 7, he had a 6, he had a 4. Then he said, I'm going to be with Jess. I'm going to be best friends with Kevin. I'm going to be best friends with this one.
But that's the point, right? Kevin's not in his alliance. Jess is not in his alliance. Betty's not in his alliance.
Helena's
Lena's
not in
his
his
alliance.
There's options. There's options.
There's options. Thank you, DeLucas.
That you don't have to show your cards week 3 and go against the. Yeah, he may have a lot of alliances, but he doesn't have to go after them just yet. He has other options, and so maybe this move in week 6 is a good move because now you got to start showing your cards.
Timing's everything.
I mean, he claimed that he wanted to be legendary. Unfortunately, he's going to be legendary for being an idiot and not for one of the best. So did he get what he wanted? Yes, but probably not in the way that he wanted to get it.
I fully agree with that. Like, I think, like, I could see where Kyle's brain is, like, turning on, like, the way that he wanted to go about it. I think his execution was very mismanaged. But more so, had he actually really thought out what he was going to do. But unfortunately, the way that the thing was set up with Steph and Moose, which we're going to get into a little bit later,
So,
that's where things are a little problem.
He has Steph come into the HOH, and he lets her know to her face,
yes,
I'm going to be putting you up. And she's like, what? We're in an alliance. What's the point of us being in an alliance? Right. We're in an alliance. We're in an alliance. It reminded me of like that Allen Iverson years ago when they were talking about practice. She kept saying alliance. We're in an alliance. Yeah. And you're putting me up because why? And he's like, people are telling me that you're coming for me. And she's like, who? Like Moose? Yup. Moose. Now Moose was up there earlier and said maybe Steph, because she's not like with us, because she's not in the 7. So maybe Steph. He knows though that she's in the 5 in the retreat.
Yeah. It on top of the fact that you just actively targeted Betty the week before. You were essentially the reason why Betty went on the block. Why would you not try to take Betty out this round? It just does not make any sense whatsoever.
He likes making enemies. It's fun for him. It's a strategy.
Okay, are you there to win or you're there to like have fun? Like I'm there to win.
It's not even win. He's been telling everyone he wants to get to jury. This is not how you get to jury.
No, this is basically asking for early boot. Like I'm sorry. Like here's the thing. Kyle is one of my winner picks, right? So obviously
rip that ticket.
So like I'm pretty sure he's gone. But my thing is that like the way that Kyle was trying to do is that obviously he was trying to cause some chaos, but again the way that he's been handling stuff really messy, really out of control, and especially from Steph and Moose at the same time. Well, Moose kind of did it a bit better, but all 3 of them, that was horrible.
Moose is running a masterclass here in terms of how to handle, how to deal with people.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Oh, that's true.
I think at this point, if Moose and Stephanie are on the block, I'm more inclined to want to vote Moose out, right? Especially seeing how he turned this all around, and if that gets exposed, I'm going after him. However, I did like this fight from Stephanie. I did like her going straight to the source. She didn't fuck around. She didn't let the rumors continue. She went straight to the source. And sometimes those are the people that you want on your side that are gonna take that reign and say, listen, let's go right to the person and square it up. Let's get it out in the open.
So
sorry, go.
She's got nothing to lose at this point. She knows she's going up, right? So what does she owe Kyle or Moose anything?
Stephanie that she is going up on the block.
Right.
Immediately, Steph is incredulous and she's like, what are you talking about? Who is telling you this? She says Moose. Kyle says Moose and others. So immediately, Stephanie gets up, goes down the stairs, and says, Moose, come up here. Greatest thing is that Moose is like, but I'm cooking. She's like, I don't care. And he turns to Gino, and Gino's like, I'll watch the food. And so Moose goes marching upstairs. And the whole time, Kyle's face is in shock. He is astounded that she's actually grabbing him, Moose, and bringing him up there, which is going to call him on the lies that he's been telling her to his face. And so he's grabbing his hands, and his head's in his hands. It's all over his face. The shock that she's actually doing this is registering on the screen. So Kyle stands there as they come up the stairs, and Moose lays on the bed. Stephanie goes back sitting down, on the couch, and the war breaks out. Stephanie is blaming Moose for saying these lies about her. And Moose very calmly says, Who is saying I'm saying these things about you? I haven't said anything about you. Give me some names. Tell me some people. She's like, Kyle right here. And Kyle's just going, not saying any words. He's just like making this shrug with his body because he knows that he made this stuff up. This wasn't really what Moose was saying.
Right. And what's interesting is that, like, I don't know if Steph believes what Kyle was saying. I think she kind of does, but at the same time, she doesn't. Because the way, I think Steph's execution of bringing Moose up was a good play, but I think obviously the emotions got like a little bit. She got her like a little bit emotional with the fact that like she heard that like from Kyle that Moose was throwing her under the bus, which is true, but not to the extent of what Kyle was saying. So, Steph did it good. I just wish that like she would have done like a little bit more of a calmer approach, being like, "Hey, Moose, can I talk to you real second? Straight upstairs," and then just hash it up there.
Here's what really got me about this scene.
Yeah,
they have a fight. Kevin calls it a war, and at the end of this war, as Steph is leaving the room, she says, "I love you, Moosey. We'll talk later." What did he do to her? Did he like hypnotize her to become best friends? He is the reason why Stephanie thinks she's on the block. She's on the block, and now you're Moosey. What's like? Kevin's right. This is a masterclass by Moose, and here's what makes me even nuts. It is very rare in Big Brother that you are put into a house with somebody you have some connection with. Here is Kyle. Here is Moose. They have a shared experience of going to school together. They know about the business they're in. They probably have alike friends. They might not be best friends, but they have something. And for both of them, specifically Kyle, to let that go to waste is just such a symbol of how poorly Kyle could read this game. How poorly he reads people, how poorly he understands relationships are actually truly important. It's an absolute miracle that if Josh, you come into this house and I'm there, I don't care what you've done to me in my life. We are working together.
No, I agree. Like, and I think Kyle did, like, even on the episodes and on live feeds was actually doing really well up until this week. I think the HOH thing.
Listen, he was expertly positioned, and then he said, "How can you blow up a great position?
Yep.
Yeah. You know how? You put up one person from your alliance. So they put up Steph. Steph calls out Moose, who's in his other alliance. Well, Moose comes up there, masterclass, is able to calm Stephanie down to the point where she says, "I'm yelling because I'm mad, but not at you, not anymore, because you have explained enough and made this make sense for me enough that this is definitely not your fault. And I'm not sure who's at fault, but I just know that I'm upset." After she leaves, Kyle goes, "Did you see what he did there? You see how he just got out of that? You came up here super hot and he got out of that. Moose is dangerous. I'm still putting you up. But now, now I believe you, Steph, but I'm still putting you up." It was just ridiculous. But I think Moose is dangerous, and you got to put Moose up too.
Right.
Now, how do you get there?
Yeah. Well, Josh has been defending Kyle, so I'm going to defend Steph just a little bit. She was just told by her alliance member that I'm betraying you and you're going on the block. So I think that's where a lot of that emotion started from, right? Then now Kyle drops the bomb about Moose. But however, now let's play devil's advocate. If Steph doesn't have that interaction and go down there and grab Moose, does Moose end up in trouble? No, probably not, right? So to position herself when, not knowing who the person you're going to be next to, indirectly good move. Maybe it wasn't the plan, right, but it ended up possibly being a good move when you don't know who you're sitting next to. And maybe it's JC Lynn, her closest ally, so good move, but I don't think the emotion was necessarily started from Moose. I think it was more like my ally is putting me up on the block. I'd be mad too.
If Kyle Moore really wanted, I can't say his name just Kyle. He's Kyle Moore.
He's Kyle Moore.
Kyle Moore wanted Stephanie out. Wouldn't he just put Stephanie up beside JC Lynn? Because everybody's either sleeping with her or wanting to sleep with her. Everybody's best friend. Wouldn't that be the best way to get rid of Stephanie?
No idiot would put up 2 of his alliance members. Now, would that?
No. I think 2 of his alliance members. 2 of his alliance members from 2 different alliances he's in.
Hold on. Wait. I think he should have done the easy route with doing Betty and Jess just for as pawns, and then he has literally his entire alliance, multiple alliances to be like, hey, listen, use the veto. I want to make a big move to take out a big player. He could say Steph. He could say Moose. He could say Herman. He literally would have been in the best position to do whatever he wanted at that point. But again, very mismanaged, didn't quite think that through. But yeah, low-key disappointing on that one. But hey, you know what? I would have just outright backdoor Steph, but that's what I would have done.
Yeah. So one more comment on that whole interaction in the room. I feel like the anger was misdirected all around when they should have been yelling at Kyle. But this is still pre-nomination, so you don't know. Maybe something can influence the HOH that they're not going to put you up, even though they're telling you they're putting you up. But had this happened after nominations, the fingers should have been pointed at Kyle because Kyle is pinpointing them against each other, right? And I was upset that he kind of skated by in this situation and didn't come out with as many fingers pointed at him.
DeLucas, he's the HOH at this time. He's
right,
the HOH at this time, so
I totally get it.
Can't really look that way, but I'm sure it doesn't go unnoticed, right?
One last point on this. Kevin. One of my favorite things about the scene was what was actually going on outside of that room.
Everyone's at the door.
But who were the first 2? Who came in there? Summer and Tanisha.
Yeah.
They're always at the center of
Summer and T up there listening in. G came up there. Gino came up there, listened a little bit because they're going rounds up there, right? Yep. They're just going rounds. So that's just it. I thought that was hilarious. And I loved it personally. So next, skipping ahead, we end up getting the Wendy's scene, baby. We get the Wendy's scene, and I thought this was very poignant because when they pick up, first off, they order chicken sandwiches and a chicken Caesar salad, which is ridiculous to me. You get Wendy's, just order some burgers, guys. Come on, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. I'm a spicy chicken guy, so I really
I think Kevin's at the point where just he's seeing so many chicken sandwiches from the past HOHs for the past few weeks. It's getting to the point being like, hey, listen, let's see some meat.
Is there no cows in Canada?
There's a lot of cows.
I don't understand why Kyle got a chicken salad. You can make a chicken salad any day. Go get a burger. Go get a Frosty. Well, what's this?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I would have gone. True.
They got Frosty. So we see Kyle go pick up the food, and we get a message from John Party. Yes. I've heard this name. I don't know this person, but I've heard this name. So John Party, I guess winner of season 2,
correct,
tells him that you make sure you use this HOH to solidify alliances. Well, Kyle, that wasn't the plan. So he's like, great, John. Picks up the food, then he goes upstairs, and he brings Kevin to eat the Wendy's with him. And we get a soundbite where Kyle talks about he loves the Wendy's thing because it gets a chance to learn about other people's strategy and what they're thinking. Yep. Then he sits there and blows up the Retreat Alliance right to Kevin. Explain someone to me. Why would you do this?
There is no explanation.
Yeah. Okay, listen.
Listen. Josh, explain why this is another great move by
Kyle.
Listen, Kyle. Okay, Kyle. Even I'm confused why you even tell Kevin of all people, knowing that if we see to the past week, the past first week when Melina spilled her thoughts to Kevin, what do you think Kevin is going to do? to the people that he's working with. Spew the rumor of the alliances straight to the outsiders. And what are they going to do? They're going to form their own alliance to take a shot at the big people. Why you would even do that? I'm sorry, but Kyle, I respected your game for like the first 2 weeks, but at this point, I'm abandoning you now. Like, as much as I wanted you as my winner pick to go in there, this is irredeemable in my eyes. I'm sorry.
So I was very adamant that Kevin has no chance in this game 2 weeks ago. I'm starting to change my mind on this because this might be working. He doesn't really have a core of anything, but everybody's telling him everything. He's just sitting there acting like an idiot who doesn't know what's going on and needs help, to the point that Kyle Moore, soon to be Kyle Newmore, says to him, and I quote, God, where's my quote? Welcome to the game, Kevin. Like Kyle, you're the only fucking one that was playing this game? Really? Really? Good morning. Kevin has been around doing stuff too. And how disrespectful is it to say that to Kevin? How rude. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think like you said about the outsiders banding up, this is just paving the way for someone like Jess, for someone like Kevin to see a pathway through all this mess, because there's so much confusion and people now looking at each other sideways, that those underdogs can, if they both have strategic minds, so if they play their cards right, they can find that path. I really believe that.
Right. And like one way to put at it is that I think Kyle is trying to control every single aspect of all the players in the game, which I see like it worked for the first little bit, but I think he's doing a little too much when he's HOH. And look where it got him now, because now he's going to be public enemy number one for how many people now? Steph, everybody. Moose, Betty, potentially Kevin now.
We'll get into his target and the people targeting him, because at this point we need to figure out who is Bel Air Direct going to save, because right now Steph is going to go up next to Betty at the moment, with maybe a Moose back door, maybe not. We'll see what's up. So we get the Bel Air Direct, and does Betty get saved? No, she doesn't. It's Marty? Question mark? What were y'all doing up there? Who were y'all voting for? Why were y'all voting for Marty?
I voted for Summer.
I voted for Summer. I did not vote for Marty. I have no clue where all the Marty votes come from.
I didn't vote, but Marty, DeLucas, he's your daddy. So you have to understand it's because of you. People like you who look at daddy and say, oh, he's cute. Oh, he's such a nice family man. Oh, he's got this cute accent. Oh, he's all these things. Let's vote for Marty. Let's say
okay.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, the way that I see it. I think people only voted for Marty because of the edit, and that kind of shows how much people don't watch the live feeds on what's actually going on, because people only vote for who on what the edit is already portrayed them. I think because of the way the hero edit is given to Marty at this rate is why Canadians voted for Marty to get it. But if you're looking at Kyle's HOH, Marty didn't need it. So I see this as a hashtag waste of a power, or waste of a Bel Air Direct's power. Like, I don't really understand why they gave it to Marty. Like, I'm surprised Gino didn't get it.
According to the internet, I looked on the Twitter, they said that the East Coast people take care of themselves, the Quebec people and the indigenous people take care of themselves. That's the people that vote, and they take care of the people that are from those places based on historical voting of Canadian things. I don't know if that's true. You guys would know better than I, but that's why Marty probably got the vote.
Okay, here's my rebuttal as to why this was a good maybe not a good choice, but why this was good for Marty. Okay. Where is Marty to talk Kyle Moore off the edge while he's jumping off the deep end? He's nowhere to be found, right? He's got safety. He sees what's going on. He sees Kyle is destroying his game single-handedly, and I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be next to it. I don't have to talk to Kyle. I'm safe. So I don't need to be seen by him, seen with him, or none of that. So this is actually indirectly by Canada a good thing for Marty to have this safety, because now he can step back and now he doesn't have to be the one talking Kyle off the ledge, and Kyle's going home next week. So now he's not associated, right, anymore as he was last week. So indirectly Canada did a good thing for Marty. I don't think that was the thought process behind it, because who knew that Kyle was such an idiot? I mean, I did, but did everybody else? Yep. And now Marty can get himself out of this little hole by just sitting back, not doing anything this week. He doesn't have to talk to anybody. He doesn't have to, strategize with Kyle. And Kyle can go next week.
He gets to kick his feet up, as they like to say.
Right, there you go.
And sure enough, that's what Marty does. But with Betty not being safe, very obviously, Josh, we're putting up Steph and Betty, right? Josh?
Nope.
Oh, man, so we get to the vote. We get to the nominations. Before the nominations, we hear Kyle going around and letting people know that he's going to be putting up Moose. He goes and he's decided he needs to make sure that the 6 are good with this, because Moose is a traitor amongst them. Very obviously, Summer, Tanisha, and Herman are not good with this. Very obviously.
No. Because here's my thing. Because it's just like, one, if you're already in an alliance with somebody, and if they feel a certain kind of way about this, obviously you have to rethink your strategy on like, would I have the votes to get Moose out of here? Because if Moose because if Moose goes on the block and survives, then guess what? Kyle, if Moose wins HOH, you're done. So I would say, like, with him, he should have at least brought the thought up, but I wouldn't say he should have followed through with it. But a little too late now, which we'll get into that later. But
yeah, one comment he made that I really loved the irony of it is he said, "I'd rather have a strong 6 than a weak 7." Well, little do you know, you are that 7th. You are the weak one, bud. the joke's on you. Yes. And you know what? I don't blame the rest of the alliance, because if you're going to start putting up people in the alliance right off the bat, like the third week in, you're not logical. So I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you to do otherwise, because if I go against you in this moment, who's to say that if we're playing spin the bottle ain't going to land on me, because that seems like how Kyle's playing right now, is just spinning a bottle wherever it lands is what he's going to go with. So I'm letting him do what he wants to do, but I'm not supporting it. Like, privately, Summer was not about it. None of them were, but I'm also maybe not trying to convince him otherwise either, because then it could just easily be me.
Have you guys seen Game of Thrones?
Not a fan, really. No.
Kyle, though, is essentially the Mad King, right? Going around just making decisions and just wanting to burn up. So, DeLucas, you're not a big fan. There was a king that ruled Westeros that was insane and wanted to blow up the city with the bombs that he stored underneath the city to blow up the city. That is Kyle. And so you don't want to upset the Mad King. So you're just going to keep quiet, because Kyle still has power at this moment. So Summer, you keep it to herself. Tanisha, keep it to herself. Herman, keep it to himself. Now, mind you, all of these players are going to be deciding that eventually the king will no longer be in power. And when the king is no longer in power, they will take care of the king justly.
So the team that was most interesting to me in this entire episode was Herman talking to Gino, and then Summer enters. They talk about what Kyle is doing. They clearly realize what poor gameplay it is and what a threat he is to their alliance. And the discussion isn't, oh my God, how do we save Kyle? The discussion is, what's our next move? Because we can't count on Kyle. What do we do next? Which is extremely smart, talks about the relationship that those three have with one another. And it really shows how expendable Kyle will end up being. Here is what I think is really interesting. I'm not sure Kyle will see it this way until it's too late. But this is a perfect chance for Kyle to go to the other side of the house. For Kyle to go with Jess, for Kyle to go with Kevin, for Kyle to go to all these other people and say, they don't want me anymore, I'm your vote. Because at this point, nobody wants to work with Kyle. They'll use him for a vote, but he doesn't know. So correct. I think the next few weeks will be really interesting to see how the house guests decide to play. Do you get rid of him or do you use him for yourself?
Get rid of him.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one because it's just like, one, if you see somebody who is just making moves but betraying their own alliances, obviously Kyle will then become the public enemy number one, which would be a perfect shield for everybody else. So I would say maybe keep it for 2-3 rounds.
No, he's not a shield. He is a dangerous weapon. He is a bomb. He is not a shield. He is a bomb. He's already blown 2 people up in our own alliance. He's ruining Herman's game because he is told about the 5-person alliance. But
isn't he a good bomb? 7. Isn't he a good bomb for Helena?
No.
For Helena, for someone like Helena, yes. Right? Yeah. You want to use it about harness it. But if Helena wins, sure. But if anyone from the original 7 wins, if anyone from that original 5 wins, this guy is a danger. He's a terror.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a good for anyone. You've proven yourself to be disloyal to your alliance. That means you will do the same to me at some point in this game. Why do I want to work with you? And the person who takes Kyle out is going to get a lot of favor from a lot of people. So if I'm Helena, I'm going after Kyle because now I might get Herman on my side. I might get Moose on my side by taking out this person who is really, really dangerous. So I think you get more favor by taking him out than you do by trying to use him. That's just where my head would be at.
Yeah,
right. I also would like to interject by saying that this also paves the pathway for new alliances to be formed and also for new enemies to be targeted. And the way that I see it is that the Kevins, the Jesses, and the Bettys are soon going to be more so in the middle, and the people like Kyle who were at the top are now straight at the bottom. That's the way the whole week could shift just like that.
Well, we get to the vote. We get to the noms, and it ends up being Moose and Steph. Terrible moves. But Kyle basically says that Moose is his target. And that's one thing I think is really interesting about BB Can is that people just openly say who your target is before the veto. So that way they can go hard to try to win this thing.
This is not a BB Can thing. I'm sorry. This is a BB Can 10 thing. It's new. I don't know what this is. I don't know why they're playing so nice and honest and huggy, lovey-dovey. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I find that kind of weird because that is just like, like Kevin brought up a good point because it's just like, if you openly say, hey, you're my target, of course they're going to go all in it and win the veto. And what's going to happen if they do win the veto? You're next. If they win HOH, I would have waited I would have just waited like after the nomination ceremony, but hey, you do you.
Yeah, I think this was the icing on the cake of stupid moves by Kyle because not only did you F over all your alliance members, then you claimed a target. Do you think those people that you F'd over are going to do your dirty work and take out said target?
No. Even worse. Worse. You F'd over your alliance members in 2 different alliances, named one of them as a target, the one that's in the bigger alliance. So they have more numbers.
Exactly. So, I'm keeping that person to go after you. That's just what is happening. Like, how could you be so dumb?
And just one more, you can't even participate in veto.
And 2 weeks in a row, nominees have won the veto. So if history repeats itself, you're not looking too pretty, buddy.
Yeah. So also 2 people use the veto too. So
2 nominees, of course, they're going to use the veto.
Yeah. So with that, the episode ends with those 2 going on the block, and it's not looking good for the real Kyle Moore.
No.
We're going to get into the live feeds right now. Fellas, you have anything else to wrap up the episode?
Why didn't Betty get to open a door? Justice for Betty. Why didn't she get to open up a door? I needed that.
Sometimes. They said sometimes.
All right, and I will just say Betty was my player of the episode for entertainment purposes. Everything that she was saying about being disgusted by having to be fake to Kyle is exactly how I was feeling. So thank you, Betty, for speaking.
We didn't jump too much into what Betty did because Betty's didn't really do much strategy wise,
but she was funny.
She was hilarious all episode.
Yeah,
she was openly hating on Kyle, but Kyle decided that he was a mastermind and did it on his own. Of deciding.
I don't want to say that she did no strategy. She went to him, and
she did,
and she was his target last week. And in the span of a minute or two, however long they were actually in that room, she became his best friend. What?
Yeah. One thing all Kyle. One thing Kyle deciding that he was going to pull in the outsiders by ostracizing. It was. Yeah. I mean, we watched what happened, right? He decided he was going to ostracize his own allies, pull in the outsiders, talking to Jez, talking to Kevin, talking to Betty, but then deciding to go against the people he already had numbers with. It didn't make sense.
Yeah. One thing she said that was a little bit of a red flag for me was when she says, I just wanted to get in your ear. Getting in somebody's ear is trying to get them to do things that you want them to do. Like she should have said, I just want to have a conversation. For me, that would have been like, Betty, you ain't getting in my ear. But
now, if she would have said,
she's an amateur.
Somewhere else, maybe it would have turned out very different.
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
Sorry. Oh no. Like I think like in terms of Betty, like I don't think this is her episode. I think like at least for this week, because like the reason being is that yes, like even though Kyle openly voted for Betty and like through like his vote to her, I don't think she was really in any kind of danger had Kyle not done what he did for this week. That's kind of the way that I see it. But I do think Betty, I think Betty can like regroup in with some of the girls and then potentially throw some shots at the guys like Kyle, Gino, Marty. If they play their cards right, then I could definitely see a retribution for the end of, or more so the end of reign of Kyle within the next couple of weeks.
So with that being said, if you're taking off now, make sure you join us on Friday night as we will recap both the Veto episode and the eviction, and we will see hopefully who the new HOH is. Hopefully we can check those things out. So join us right back here at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and we will go into that. But now, also for the fans, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. You know the deal. Check us out on the podcast feed, all those good things. Well, let's give you a second to get out of here.
Why? What are we about to do? What's going to happen?
Josh, tell us about the feeds, baby. Let's go. It's feeds time.
Okay, so it's feeds time. So let's look into what's going to happen for this upcoming week, because the Veto competition was played, as well as the Veto Picks, as well as a potential veto usage for a new nom to be changed. So with that being said, let's look into what the Veto Picks were. So obviously, for the looks of things, Kyle was not able to participate, but the two noms were able to compete. In this case, it was Stephanie and Moose. The three other people selected by the draw were Betty, Gino, and Josh. Thoughts on the Veto Picks? Do you think the veto would have been used if either of them won? Or what do y'all think?
I don't think Gino's using it.
No. Well, maybe for Moose, but probably not.
Nah, because this is Kyle's HOH. That's his boy. Josh might have used it. I think Josh might use it.
I don't know about Josh. I mean, I think Josh would do whatever Kyle wants to do to make sure that, he doesn't get put up on the block. But I think he would only use the veto if Kyle would tell him to do it, but I don't think he would have done it for his own benefit. Which, unfortunately for Josh, the veto competition was played out and Moose did win the veto. So obviously that does not look good for Kyle at all, especially when he openly said that he was after Moose. So we're seeing a repeat here. If you openly say you're gun for somebody, they're gonna win the veto. So I hope you know for 3 times now not to do that. So with Moose winning veto, obviously you need a replacement nom. Kyle then, just to summarize of like how the replacement nom came to be, the replacement nom switched over to Betty.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, but
no, wait, not Betty? Still not Betty?
No.
So, oh.
Kyle decides to put his replacement nominee for Josh.
What?
Someone else that was in the 7, because he said the 7 should be a 6, and then Moose was saved, and he said maybe the 7 should be a 5. I don't know
why. Okay. Josh, why? What's the reason?
Okay. This one was a bit messy. I think like.
Are we surprised?
So you think it's like Kyle HOA.
Here's the thing. Like, I even try to look through the feeds and try to find a logic. And he told he had conversations with like so many people. He tried to find some info like for Marty, Gino, Dr. Herman, Summer, and T. Went over to Kevin. It was all over the place. And to finally get a good grasp of things is that he realized that Josh is sitting really good in the house. So he decided to go for it because he realized that he is a very strong player and that nobody would want to put him up.
So,
and I'm like,
let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Let me get this straight. Kyle said that there's a person sitting really well in the house. So I'm going to put them up and then have the people that like them vote them out.
You see what I mean?
Brilliant.
Tell me.
Brilliant.
I'm sorry, I can't.
You said this man on the screen is playing a really good game. Go ahead, defend him. Defend this man for me.
Like, listen, before like the first 2, okay, I'm talking about on the episode sense. On the live feed sense, I was dying inside. I'm sorry. I just can't with him. And like, there were even some moments, just to move away from Kyle a little bit, there were even some moments where Summer and T realized that Kyle is being a little too much. There were moments where Gino and Helena were like, okay, we need to like keep Moose, potentially rally the votes, to like throw a shot at Josh. It's going to be a messy round. It's not looking good. And especially if Moose stays, oh boy.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does Kyle realize at this point how much he has fucked up? Kudos to the other 13 people in the house for keeping that a secret that Kyle is not capable of doing. So good for them. I hope he's a group target for the next round.
So what has happened in this house? Because I've checked up on the feeds a little bit through the Twitter streets. One thing that Kyle had the other night was a guys' night. He had all the boys come up with, let's not worry about the game. Let's kick our feet up. Let's have some beers and let's hang out. Well, he forgot to invite Kevin. Guys' night. So the guys come up there, no Kevin, and they have some beers, and they're talking about women and football. Well, these are 2 things that Josh doesn't give 2 shits about. Neither women nor football. Yeah, he's up there being a good sport. Kevin's been left out. He's spawning with the ladies. Summer goes to Kyle and says, how dare you leave Kevin out of this? And he's like, I am so sorry. Kevin, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. That's on me. I'm so sorry. Well, Kevin gets endeared to the ladies in that situation. One thing Kyle did notice was that it did not look like Josh was having a great time. He did keep that in mind.
No. It's like,
oh my God.
Yeah,
how dare you not invite your Wendy's date to boys' night after you had a chicken salad? So maybe your boys' night card should be revoked just as much.
Yeah,
what is the strategy here? And I know it's Kyle Moore, so there's probably not much strategy. But is there strategy in this man doing a boys' night?
I don't think so. No.
None of the boys like you at this point. you put up 2 of them.
There's another thing that Josh didn't mention. There is a new alliance. It is the boys. It is Marty. It is Kyle. It is Gino, and it is Herman.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, Herman is not really down with this. Herman is actually more tied to the Rejects Alliance, which has also been formed, which is Helena, it is Kevin, it is Tanisha, Summer, Herman.
Yep. Love it. I love that alliance.
And they are more inclined. They were formed as a counter alliance to Kyle specifically. That was basically why this was formed.
Right. And like
currently. Moose is not currently in any alliances, and Jess is like has relationships with people, but is not in any alliances at this moment as well.
Right. And what's also interesting is that like part of this was also Herman and Summer's play here. And this is what's also interesting. Summer on the live feeds is doing absolutely phenomenal and is continuing to getting more and more impressive by the minute because everyone is coming to Summer. Everyone is giving her some information. Everyone trusts her. Everyone wants to keep her. And I'm like, where's the Summer love in the edit? She's the center of everything now. That's
with
crazy.
all due respect, please don't talk about Summer because we don't want her to get the Kyle treatment. And you talked all that good stuff about Kyle. Yeah, don't curse her, please.
Okay, you know what? Like, I'll downplay Summer, so let's just hope I'm not jinxing with Summer this time because she's one of my last picks. So please do well. Okay,
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing.
One thing, two people that aren't in any of those groups are JC Lynn and Stephanie.
Yeah.
JC Lynn is in a reformed retreat with Gina, herself, Kyle, and Herman.
Yes.
Herman's in all these alliances, but Herman does not like Kyle at all.
Ooh, well, obviously. Who would? So who can come this week? Because I actually don't know.
So like as far as like what's going on this week, so after like the veto was used, everyone is scrambling. Like it is like not looking too crazy. Like Josh was talking to Moose saying like, hey, do you knew that I was going up? And Moose like had no clue what was going on. Like both of them were like freaking out. But the way that I see where the vote is going to be looking right now, it seems like where like it came down between Steph and Josh right now. Moose says he has Josh's vote, so it looks like the vote is going to be for Stephanie to go. That's the way it's looking for at the moment. And here is what's even worse is that people are now talking crap about Kyle on the live feeds. It's getting messier and messier. And also, Josh said this, and I quote, "I want this to look like the worst HOH of Big Brother history."
Well, it's done.
It's looking like it. It's looking like it. So, yep.
It's done.
So
I watched the clip. I watched the clip where her mom was like, "This dude first decides he's gonna go for my flirt mance, and I'm supposed to just be cool with this. So whatever. Then he goes for someone in the 7, and I'm supposed to be cool with it. Whatever. Now he goes for another dude that's in the 7. We're just supposed to flip flop as this dude wants when Betty's right there, when Jess is right there, when Kevin's right there, bruh. This dude got me effed up. He says, and he says this kid doesn't know who he's dealing with here. Her mom's coming for him. Her mom's coming for him.
By the way, just to point out that the alliance name that Kevin mentioned with this new alliance with Kevin, Jess, Herman, and I believe it was Summer. The alliance is called the Village Voice. So there's an inner group inside the counter alliance that like is going up towards Kyle. So I think with this core people. Oh, sorry. So I think
the rest of my craveable.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Special guest star, Josh's sister.
yeah, my sisters just came in. But yeah, long story short, that type crew is planning to like also throw Moose out when Kyle leaves.
Moose and Kyle out with the trash. I love it.
Yeah.
Let's just get it done. Because Moose is a little messy this week. You know what I'm saying? The things that Kyle was saying, Moose was saying was true. He did tell Tanisha he was coming for her. He did tell her mom. One thing that they didn't show in the episode was that when Kyle was talking about going for Moose was like, "Is this Herman?" Because he thinks there's no way this guy I know from university will be putting me up on his own. There's no way. And Kyle was like, no, this is me. This is my move. I'm doing this. I'm putting up a person that I knew ahead of time and is in my alliance. And this is my bad move. No one convinced me to do this. I did this on my own.
Okay,
yeah.
So we spent the last hour saying bad things about Kyle. Can we say something good? I feel bad.
Okay, go
ahead. Nice guy.
I'm stumped.
Yes.
Kyle, you had my hopes up. That's all I can say. But one thing I also want to bring up with Moose is that with the edit that the Moose is given right now, they make Moose look like he's looking like a great player, but they don't realize that there was that he did a lot of messy stuff the week prior before leading up to this upcoming week. So like I could see where Kyle wanted to put Moose up, but I probably suspect that the way Moose was handling the situation with Steph, it was definitely mismanaged for that. Which I don't blame Kyle for like not trusting Moose, but also like some people in his alliance with Marty, Gino, like those people not trusting Moose either. But it's just the way that like he went about it is just not fully executed in my opinion. And like even Moose, like I don't think Moose is fully aware that like he made all these mistakes that got himself a little bit targeted before Kyle was HOH. But that's just how I see it.
Have you all been feeling that this feels like a heavy male season? Like all the
boys. It's the boys.
It's the boys.
But I don't. But like, I'm looking at this and saying all the boys seem to be focused on the wrong things and doing that. I think this is still the lady season.
Yeah.
I still think Summer and Tanisha are going to be dangerous. I still think JC Lynn might end up going quite far and stringing Gino along until she has to get rid of him. I still think Betty and Helena, they might figure something out. They might I don't know. I think this really is a lady season, and the boys are playing hard out of the gate, but they better watch out because the girls are coming in to destroy.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sheldon. I think this changes the whole trajectory of the whole game, this round right here. And like someone said earlier, I think it was you, Josh, that it allows new alliances to form and things to shake around. I don't see the boys, maybe Gino and Herman stick together, but, now Herman and Moose are at odds. So I think there's so many different dynamics. I will say we joke about this being the worst HOH. I can't remember a season where week 3 we're getting this hard of gameplay, whether it's stupid moves or good moves. There's a lot of gameplay. That's why we're missing these nooks and crannies to the story, because there's just so much and so many people that they can't fit it into an hour-long episode. So I give it to Canada that they're really playing. Whether they're playing dumb or smart is yet to be seen, but they're still playing.
Yeah, I also wanted to point out that this week was a lot, and even though we only touched some of the main portions of what happened, a lot was happened this week, probably more than last week. So I don't blame Big Brother Camp for only cramming this as much as they can within an hour. I think this week should have been a 2-hour special because lot of stuff happened.
That's not how TV works, Josh. So
it's Canada; they can make their own rules up.
That's why it's fair. Yeah,
DeLucas, thank you for joining us tonight. Do you have anything you want to promote?
Not so much promote, but I was going to tell you this off camera, but I'm actually going to be in Vegas April 7th through the 10th. So I would love to meet up and have a cocktail and talk shit about Josh. Let's conspire to vote his ass out.
Happily. I will see you in April. What about you, Josh? You got anything you want to promote?
Yes. So once again, Survivor Pandemic Season 6. We're getting closer. We're about a few weeks away. Premiere of Season 6 will be dropped at the end of March, early April. You want to stick around for that. And as well as if you wanted to play the most realistic version of Survivor ever, you can come in to apply with one of our application pages for Survivor Pandemic going in from Season 6, 7 for All-Stars, and going into Season 8. So you want to stick around for that.
Sheldon?
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody to have your pets spayed and neutered.
Perfect.
Thanks, Bob
make
Barker.
sure you check out the Survivor wrap-up. The Survivor recap episode will be on Thursday night right here at 8 o'clock. Also, come back and join us for the 8 o'clock episode of the recap of the eviction and the veto episode of Big Brother Canada. So make sure you join us right here on the For the Fans YouTube page. In addition, You can find our podcast the next day on all Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, all those good places. And also, my own podcast, Decom After Dark. A new episode coming out tomorrow, Luck of the Irish. Check that out. It is me. It is my friend Lindsay, and we have special guest Tad Kincaid will be joining us as we talk about Luck of the Irish, another Ryan Merriman joint. So please join us for that. Also, there's video on the Decom After Dark Facebook, YouTube page, so check that out. With all those things being said, can't wait to see you guys on Friday